Hi, I'm Scott Pitkethly. I'm lead programmer on Warhammer Total War, and we're here in San Francisco to show it off.
So Scott, you're showing your first subterranean battleground and the dwarves for the first time. Tell us about that.
Okay, so this is as you say, a subterranean battle. So the dwarves have been ambushed at Thundering Falls by the Greenskins. So we've got Thorgrim Ironhide and his band of dwarves. And yeah, they're being attacked from all sides. The subterranean battle is the first time we've ever done underground battles. So you're totally enclosed. The battles are much narrower and more focused than an open battle would be. And so the way this is actually a battle that would happen, the one we're showing today is from a quest battle. But also you'll get subterranean battles generated from the campaign map. When you are using the underways, you can be ambushed whilst you're traveling along them.
So how have you worked with Games Workshop when developing this Total War game?
Right, well, so we've always done historical games in the past, as you probably know, and so we've had all this historical kind of literature to work from, and now we've got kind of an equally rich history from the Games Workshop Warhammer world. It's very similar in a lot of ways. We've got this like really rich world to reference, and we've got so many unit types, and it's so varied. Every faction has completely different kind of play style and unit types and artillery types, and we've also got flying creatures for the first time. We've got giant creatures. So the Warhammer world has just given us all of this different kind of material that we can draw from. It's been great.
It usually is a big jump for you guys doing historical, real people, real events to complete 100% fantasy battles with fantasy spells and magic and all that jazz.
Yeah, I mean, we've had to really re-engineer parts of the battle engine because we're doing things we've never had to do before. As I say, we've got these giant creatures that are, many, many times bigger than a man, and we've got things that you control that are flying now, and we've never had that before. And we've got these Warhammer as these crazy war machines that the different races can have. We had the dwarves have these Gyrocopters, which are like kind of steam-powered helicopters, and we've got the Arachnaroks, which is this giant spider on the Greenskin faction, and it's covered in goblins that are firing. Archers are firing, and we've not had anything like that before. So yeah, we've really had to work to re-engineer the way the battle works to take on those things. It's been an exciting challenge.
What have you guys learned from past Total War games that you're applying to Total War Warhammer?
Well, it's still essentially a Total War game. So the battles are, we've cut our teeth on epic battles. I don't think there's anyone else who knows epic battles quite like we do. So that's what we're able to bring to it. We can have these absolutely huge battles with thousands of what I would say men, but now it's not just men. Thousands of orcs or dwarves or empires. So yeah, so we know how to do that, and we're bringing that to it.
Did you or any members of your team play the Warhammer Tabletop game in preparation for the design of this game?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I played Warhammer when I was a kid, so for me, it's like a dream come true. But yeah, we've got a table at work, and Games Workshop have kindly given us a load of miniatures, so we've been gluing them up and painting them, and yeah, we played loads of the battles, and that's actually really good to give you a flavour for an idea of the flavour of the different factions and how they play differently, because each one has all these different unit types, and when you start playing them on the tabletop game, that kind of gives you an idea of, oh, how would that work in our battles? And because we're doing both of them at the same time, we can kind of say, oh, okay, that would work like this. And yeah, so it's been really useful, and we've done a lot of that.
Now, Total War has always been known for their big scale battles, but this seems to be completely over the top. I mean, everything looks great, the dynamic, the effects. What were some of the challenges in designing that to work all in real time in the game?
Yeah, well, as I say, it's just been the variety of units have been a real challenge. We've only really dealt with, men on horses, men on camels, or the unit types have been broadly similar for all the Total War games that we've done, and now everything's changed. The Warhammer world is so rich with these different kind of creature types. So that's really where we focused on building the engine to be able to cater for these, exciting and some downright crazy kind of unit types that exist, and so that's basically where we've been spending our time and looking at the combat. We spent a lot of time on the way combat works in this game, and we've kind of moved to a much more individual level of combat. So every guy has his own awareness and plays the combat elements rather than trying to sync up two guys to fight together. That's just not possible when you've got lots of different men of lots of entities of different sizes. So every guy now can play his own aliens against different things. We still have those matched aliens, but we're using them much more for kind of theatrical effect. So you'll get a giant picking up a guy and smashing him on the ground, or an arachnarok spider, chewing someone up and spitting him out or whatever. So we've had to kind of drive in a slightly different direction, but it's actually made the combat, I think, more visceral than we've ever managed to get it before.
So you have flying units for the first time as well. I think I've seen through so far the Gyrocopters, and I saw 2 creatures in another playthrough. Talk about what went into designing those to fit in the game of Total War.
Yeah, I mean, and that's been quite difficult because, we've never had to do that before, and we had to spend quite a lot of time prototyping that. And also balancing it. So because we had to be very mindful of the fact that you can't use your flying creatures to fly in, do some damage, and fly out and be unassailable, because it would be like a winning tactic you would just use over and over again. So we've really had to look at the way they work, and we've got mechanics so that once you are engaged in melee, we can kind of keep you in melee, and so we can balance that so that the landed troops still have, the troops that are kind of based on the ground still have the ability to fight back. But they do allow cool things. I mean, we've got them, as they land in melee attacks, they'll have a splash attack, and you'll see these really dramatic kind of landings as guys that they're kind of attacking will be kind of sent flying. But yeah.
You guys are also introducing heroes for the first time in the Total War series, ones that kind of stand on their own and have their own unique abilities by themselves.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So we've got the Lords, and you actually will have those on the campaign map, much like we've had agents in the past, but this time you'll actually be able to take them down to the battle with you. So the Thane that you were playing with in the battle we just played, he would exist on the campaign map, and you would be able to, take him with you, join him to your army, and you'd have his special abilities, and you'd be using those. But then you can actually use them as an agent on the campaign map, but actually take him to the battle. And they're very strong melee units, and they've got like magical items that they might collect during the campaign map, and abilities that they'll gain that you actually get to use firsthand when you're fighting the battles.
Do you have a favorite squad or a unit you'd like to use in the game, and why?
Well, I really like the Iron Drakes, they are the dwarf, essentially flamethrower units, and I just love their armor is amazing. They've got these like helmets that kind of protect them from the flames, and they just look kind of slightly crazy, and they're devastating as well at close range. So.
And when does Total War Warhammer come out?
We're out next year, so yeah, look out for us.